Migration has always been part of human history. Humans have migrated from one continent to another. So it's a natural thing. It's nothing unnatural. There are different types of migrations. So it could be a voluntary migration. Say, if you reside in a particular place and there are no opportunities for your livelihood, there is some natural calamity or something or the other, people tend to migrate from one place to another. Even today, we migrate for search of jobs and so on. So people keep migrating from one place to another. So in case it's an involuntary migration, then those people are generally called refugees. Okay, so they have moved out because of conditions which they did not create. Either there's some kind of political persecution or some kind of natural calamity or something or the other. So they have been forced to migrate from one place to another. So moving out from a place to a new place is known as immigration, E and migration. And if people come into a place, it is known as immigration, IM and migration. Okay, so moving out is immigration and moving in is immigration. So it's a very natural process. In ancient times, say kings would invite people to settle down in their lands, because in those days there was plenty of land. Population was very limited because death rate used to be high. So the population was generally stable in those days. And so the density was very less. And so larger number of population meant a greater strength to the king. Okay, so the kings would invite people to settle them down in their kingdom. Okay, ask them to, grow crops and grow food. Some of them are recruited in the army. So, so immigration used to happen in that way also. But ever since nation states have come into being, states have been defined in terms of their certain identity. It's not about a king ruling over a place and inviting all kinds of people to live under him. Nation states are defined by a certain identity. And these identities are then protected by laws. Okay, and so herein comes the concept of illegal immigration. Okay, so there are certain laws of who can come in, okay, who can settle down, who can work in a particular place. If you want to travel to a different nation, you need a passport and you need a visa. Okay, so there are certain laws which govern how you can go to another place, either to travel or to settle down. So if you do not follow the laws of that particular nation and you go and work there or settle there, then you are an illegal immigrant. Okay, and this problem is all over the world. Problem is there in US with the Mexican border, large number of people going into US. So there are, in US also they have large number of illegal immigrants. In Europe, with all the crisis happening in the Middle East, many people cross over into Europe illegally without any valid documents. And so there is a problem there. In India also, we see different types of immigrants. Some immigrants are legal, others are illegal. Legal means those who are there through some documentation with the permission of the government. They could be refugees. Say, for example, there are the Tibetan refugees, okay, who have come from Chinese occupied Tibet, or say Tamil refugees from Sri Lanka due to the civil war there. Okay, there have been, due to the partition, large number of refugees that came to India from Punjab and from Bengal, Hindu and Sikh refugees. Okay, so this is all legal migration. Now, illegal migration is when people travel into the country without any documentation. So this problem is there. So some people from Pakistan come in, and also from Bangladesh. Okay, till 1971, Bangladesh was also part of Pakistan. So large number of people from Bangladesh have entered into India illegally, and so they are termed as illegal immigrants. Okay, the most affected state in this regard, because these illegal immigrants are all over, it's not just in Assam, but in other states also. But Assam is the most affected because it shares a long boundary with Bangladesh. Plus, the population of Assam is not very large. Thirdly, unlike say other northeastern states which have an inner line permit system, so people from outside the state cannot settle down and buy land in those states, in Mizoram or Nagaland. These states you cannot buy land, and this has now been extended to other states like Meghalaya, Manipur, and so on. Assam is not covered within that system. Okay, so Assam has basically three problems: a long boundary with Bangladesh, a lack of protection for the indigenous people, and thirdly, a relatively smaller population. Okay, it's a middle-sized state in India. Say that the population is about 3 crore people in Assam. It's similar to maybe a bit larger than Punjab. Okay, so Assam is facing this situation. Now, say what is the problem? There are people coming in. If you give them citizenship, the problem is solved. Like say in US, people are saying, like the Democratic Party is saying, so legalize the undocumented migrant. Those people who have come, legalize, give them work permits, gradually pave the way for them to become citizens. But the problem is, since Assam has a small population, say, and if you compare it with the population of Bangladesh, it's very small in comparison. So if the illegal immigrants are legalized, what happens is the demography of Assam changes. And because of that, the culture and the language and the religion of the people is threatened. Assamese people will become a minority in their own state. Okay, so this whole thing has a very long history. So I would briefly like to touch upon the history of how, what is Assam, how this entity came into being, and when this problem of immigration started, and how this has been threatened, and how the people of Assam have agitated and fought against this, what they consider to be a demographic invasion. Okay, so I have a PPT. I won't go into, okay, I need to be allowed to share. I'm not allowed to share the PPT. You have to make me the presenter.
Just a second. I'm trying. Mute. Make presenter. ठीक है. Done.
Yes. Thank you. Can you see this?
जी.
Okay, so this is the northeast of India. Please look at the shape of the region. Okay, there are 8 states, including Sikkim. 8 states in the northeast. So in the middle is Assam, which is the most densely populated state in the northeast. Okay, and it is a peculiar shape. It's not like there are different regions within Assam. I'll show you here. Yes. Okay. So this northern part, this area in pink, this is known as Upper Assam. So the Brahmaputra river flows, actually flows inside Assam here. It divides it into 2 parts. Show you. Yeah. So this is the Brahmaputra river. Okay, so this is the upper bank and this is the lower bank. So the northern part, this one is known as Upper Assam. Okay, if you study Assam, do research on Assam, different issues of immigration, insurgency, you will come across these terms, Upper Assam and Lower Assam. Okay, Upper Assam basically means the upper part of the Brahmaputra river. Okay, so it's known as Upper Assam. So this is the Upper Assam area, and this green area is Lower Assam. Okay, Brahmaputra flows like this, here, going down here. This is the middle part, so either you can include it into lower Assam, upper Assam, you can call it middle Assam, whatever it is. Then this part here, you can see in the south, in orange, is the Barak Valley. This is not part of the Brahmaputra Valley. Okay, this is the Bengali speaking area of Assam. Okay, Kachar, Karimganj and Hailakandi districts. So it is quite separate from the rest of the Assam, which is basically Assamese speaking. Okay, so the Brahmaputra Valley is predominantly Assamese speaking, plus of course each ethnic group has its own unique language, but the lingua franca is the Assamese language, except say in the Kokrajhar area, which is the Bodo dominated. Okay, this area is Bodo dominated. Rest of it, Assamese is the lingua franca. This is the Bengali speaking. Okay, so there are a lot of such identity issue. Identity is very important in Assam. Okay, so there's a broader Assamese identity that we are all Assamese people, and then within that there are different ethnic groups. Okay, there's Sonwal Kachari, so that is a different culture. There is the Missing, so they have their own language. Okay, there are Karbis, the Dimasa, different kinds of groups. There are several groups, ethnic groups. Okay, maybe there are hundreds of ethnic groups within, approximately about 100 ethnic groups within Assam. But overall, there is this Assamese identity. Okay. So, Assam, and this Assamese identity is a very ancient identity. So in ancient times also, there have been references to Assam as Kamrup. Kamrup was the ancient name of Assam. So it is mentioned in the Mahabharata also, and there are Puranas, it has been mentioned. So Guwahati used to be the center. You know, in Guwahati there is this famous Kamakya temple, which used to be the center of culture in Assam. So all the great ancient Kamrup kingdoms, like I don't know if you have heard about Kumar Bhaskar Burman, who used to be a great king of Assam. So they ruled over this Kamrup kingdom, which is centered around Guwahati, but spread into the rest of the Assam, also in some other parts into Bengal. In those days, kingdoms used to increase in size and reduce in size due to the rise and fall of their power. If they became powerful, they used to expand territorially. If they became weak, they used to shrink. So same with the Kamrup kingdom. Now towards the 13th century, the Kamrup kingdom had become very weak, and different ethnic groups had separated, and they had their own territories that they control. So a tribe from all the way from the Yunnan province in China. In those days, of course, that was not part of China. Today, it is part of China. So we don't call, they're not Chinese people actually. They are Shan people, the Ahoms. Okay, so they are the Shan people, similar to some ethnic groups in say Thailand and Myanmar. Okay, they have the same ethnicity. So their mother tongue used to be Thai Phake, the particular dialect is known as Thai Phake. So these Ahom people in the 13th century, led by Sukafa, they entered into Assam, okay, through the hills from the east, and they founded the Ahom kingdom. So the Ahom kingdom was established in 1228 of our common era. And gradually this Ahom kingdom, through the policy of integrating with the local tribes, intermarriage, conquest, and so on, it expanded throughout Assam. So towards the end, this was the size of the Ahom kingdom. Okay, this is the Brahmaputra river. So almost the entire Brahmaputra valley, before the bend goes into Bengal, but this entire area was part of the Ahom kingdom. And you must have all also heard of the invasion by the Turks and the Mughals of Assam. They tried several times to conquer Assam, but they failed. And the most famous battle is the Battle of Saraighat, led by Lasit Borphukan. Okay, so he is considered to be a great hero in Assam. And recently there was a celebration of his anniversary. I forget how many years. Prime Minister was. Huh?
So 400 years.
400 is it?
Yes.
Yes, okay. 400th anniversary was celebrated in a big way. Okay, so we should all know about people. We should not just know people from North India, but we should know like people from the east, from the south. Okay, now I'm in Bangalore, so the most famous person here is Kempe Gowda. Okay, Kempe Gowda is a person who founded the city of Bangalore. I did not know about him before coming to Bangalore. Okay, so our knowledge of the whole country is very limited. Our sense of history is limited to, unless you are from that particular area, our sense of history is only limited to the places around Delhi and the North India. Anyhow, so this was the Ahom kingdom. Now the Burmese then captured the northeast, and so the Ahoms turned to the British, and eventually the British came and defeated the Burmese, and in 1826, Assam became part of the British Indian Empire. 1826 Treaty of Yandabo. Okay, I have written it down. Let me see. Yeah, so Treaty of Yandabo, 1826. Assam becomes part of the British Indian Empire. For a brief period, again, I don't want to go into details. Ahom king was allowed to rule the upper Assam for some time, but again the British took over. Okay, and Ahoms also participated in the 1857 revolt against the British. People like Maniram Dewan, Pioli Borua, Pioli Phukon. Okay, so these are some great revolutionaries in Assam who fought against the British. Unfortunately, they are unknown in the rest of India. Anyhow, see what the British did was, now the Brahmaputra Valley is predominantly a place where there is an Assamese identity. Now, what is the Assamese identity? Okay, Assamese identity, as I told you, initially centered around Devi worship, Kamakya. Okay, Tantric Devi worship. They have their own language, which is a kind of a Prakrit language spoken in the eastern part of India. They also have their own script. Okay. Gradually, this developed into the Assamese language. Okay, so the Eastern Kamrupi script and dialect, that it developed into the Assamese language. This will be around, say, 14th, 15th century. Okay, predominantly they were Devi worshippers. Now the Ahoms who came, they had their own religion. Okay, they had their own, their own gods and so on. But gradually the Ahoms adopted the culture and the language of the people of Assam. So they became completely Assamese. Okay, although they still have the memory and the rituals of their gods and their own language, although it's not spoken commonly, it's only now taught in some university departments. The Ahoms have completely become Assamese. They have adopted the religion and the language. Now, around that time, about 16th century, as the Assamese identity was developing, there was a great Vaishnav reformer in Assam known as Shankardev. Okay, Shankardev was a great Vaishnavite reformer. He introduced Vaishnava religion. So already there was a Shakti religion in Assam, plus the tribal different gods. It was a mixture of all that. And then this Vaishnavite religion comes and it becomes the most popular religion in Assam. Okay, different ethnic groups, they convert. And so these monasteries known as Hatras, they are established all over the Brahmaputra Valley. Okay, from Borpeta to Sadia. Sadia is in Upper Assam and Borpeta is in Lower Assam. So they are very important monasteries of this particular sect. Okay, so Shankardev becomes a kind of an icon in Assam. So Assamese identity essentially is this identity: Shankardev, Kamakya, Assamese language. Of course, there is also a component of Muslims. These are basically the soldiers who came with the Turks. They were defeated and they were captured by the Ahuns. So the Ahum king did not persecute them. He settled them down in Assam and gave them some job like basket making or some kind of occupations were given to them. So these people who were absorbed into the Assamese identity, so they also became Assamese, although they retained their Muslim religion. So they are known as indigenous Muslims in Assam. Okay. So Assamese identity is actually a kind of a composite identity in that way. Okay, with the language and the culture and people celebrating the Bihu festival. Now, for administrative purposes, what the British did was, British included some other areas which actually were not part of this Assamese identity into the state of Assam. In this map, you can see the different areas which were made part of Assam. Okay. So in 1874, you can see, in 1874, the province of Assam was created. Okay. Before 1874, Assam was ruled under the Bengal presidency. Okay. Assam was not a separate province under the British. In 1874, Assam was made a chief commissioner's province. But before that, what they did was they annexed certain parts which are not actually part of Assam, not part of the Ahom kingdom, into the state of Assam. Like for example, Gwalpara, okay, or Sylhet. Similarly, the other like Kachar and Naga Hills, they were included in Assam at different points of time, parts of Arunachal. So during the British period, almost the entire northeast was part of Assam. Okay, almost the entire northeast. Sikkim, of course, was a separate entity altogether. Tripura was considered to be...
Tripura doesn't figure here.
Yeah, Tripura used to be part of the Bengal. It was a princely state, but came under Bengal. And Manipur and the Khasi states were princely states, which were under the province of Assam. Okay, so each different princely states were attached to, unless they were large princely states, they were attached to different provinces under the British. Okay, so the king of Manipur would report to the, say, the chief commissioner in Shillong. Shillong was the capital of Assam at that time. Okay, so in this way, the Assamese identity became very diluted. So in this huge state, Assamese people were barely the majority. I think it would be almost a Bengali majority state. Okay, with Sylhet and Kachar and Gwalpara, which is a mixed Assamese Bengali. So the Assamese identity was diluted. Bengali used to be the official language. Large number of Bengalis migrated from Bengal to settle in Assam to work as clerks. And the entire administration was actually in the 19th century controlled by the Bengalis, and Bengali was the official language. And the Assamese elites used to go to, say, University of Calcutta to get their degrees. Okay, in the course of time, Assamese people, elite emerged who understood this concept of identity, so on and so forth. And they started demanding their rights. Okay, so there was a demand for Assamese language also to be accepted as the official language along with Bengali. Okay, so these agitations continue. Another thing that was observed was in the 1901 census. I'm going to show you this. Just a minute. I'll stop sharing this. I'll share a book with you. Can you see this?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is a book by Udayan Mishra. He was a professor of English in Dibrugarh University. So he wrote this book, Burden of History, Assam and the Partition, Unresolved Issues. Okay, so he gives here a timeline of immigration into Assam. Okay, so in 1901 census, it was observed that the immigrant population in Assam has increased. Okay, many East Bengalis have started coming and settling in Assam. Assam towards the end of the Ahom period had become very disturbed because of internal divisions. There were wars going on, then the Burmese invaded. So Assam had become depopulated in the 19th century. Anyway, Assam was very thinly populated. If you compare with, say, the rest of India, say the Ganga Valley, which is very densely populated, Assam was anyway thinly populated. It was forest area. But in the 19th century, the population of Assam declined. Okay, so it became even more thinly populated. As a result, there was a lot of scope for immigrants to come in, simply clear the forest and occupy the land. Okay, so many East Bengalis who were Bengali speaking and Muslims by religion began to settle in Bengal, and the British encouraged it. Okay, because for the British, which is a colonial empire, the main purpose was economic. They wanted to make money. Okay, and how would they make money? So it was not an industrialized area. So basically you make money through agriculture, growing crops and so on. So through rice cultivation and later on tea cultivation. So, the British used to import tea from China. As a result, there was a negative balance of trade. And so they were looking for alternative destinations where they could grow tea. And ultimately they found that Assam was suited for growing tea. Okay, so they started this tea cultivation in Assam. But besides that, rice cultivation was also an important factor. So a large number of East Bengalis began to, settle in Assam, in Nagaon district, in Gwalpara district, the districts which were adjoining East Bengal. Okay, at that time there was no East Bengal, it was entire Bengal. So this particular Mymensingh district, okay, which was the main area from where people were settling into Assam. Sylhet was already part of Assam, so many Sylhetis were also migrating into, this is an internal migration because Sylhet already a part of Assam. So Sylhetis and Mymensingias, they were going into Nagaon and other Assamese speaking districts and settling down. So by 1901, it was found that demographically Assam was changing. So it was becoming more Muslim, more Bengali. Okay, so there was a different reaction from different people. For some people, this was a kind of a Bengali invasion. For some, it was a Islamic invasion because by this time Muslim League also had been formed, 1906, and separate electorates had come in. Okay, so many such complex issues, and this immigration continued, as you can see here. Okay, this immigration continued, and it was profitable for the British. More and more people settling down in Assam. Okay, as economic grows, the tax revenues of the British increase. So for the British, this immigration was very profitable. So not only East Bengalis, but also say for growing tea, the local population was found to be incapable of doing very hard labor. So they brought in, because the conditions were very inhuman. Okay, very difficult conditions. So these people were brought in from central India, from Orissa, today's Jharkhand. From these areas, people were brought in, as which today they are called tea tribes in Assam. Okay, similarly, large number of Gorkha soldiers settled down. So people from Nepal came and settled down there. Bengali, I already told you, as clerks, many of them came. Many then as business opportunities grew, many Marwari businessmen came and settled in Assam. Okay, they are considered to be a very important part of the economy of Assam. So in this way, an already diverse kind of a state, more diversity came in. But the main fault line that emerged because of the Muslim League politics and its demand for a separate electorate and ultimately a separate nation was this divide between the Muslim League and the Congress. Muslim League representing the Muslims of Assam, who were predominantly Bengalis, and the Congress representing the Assamese people. Okay, there was a split in the politics. And because the Congress did not participate in election in those days, throughout the 1920s and 1930s, the Congress did not participate in government. Independent people did, prominent people from the Assamese community did, but not the Congress party. Okay, because it was in non-cooperation, civil disobedience mode. While the Muslim League and several prominent Muslim leaders, they participated in ministry. The most important figure in this whole era was Muhammad Sadullah. Okay, Muhammad Sadullah. I might have his name somewhere here.
Yeah, they know him. He was member of drafting committee.
Yes. So I'll stop sharing this and I'll go back to the PPT. Yeah, so actually Muhammad Sadullah was not, he actually was an independent, he was not part of the Muslim League. Like he had his own party, okay, Assam Valley Party. And of course, he worked with the Muslim League and he was considered to be a moderate and he was an indigenous Assamese. Okay, he was not a Bengali, but Assamese from Guwahati, a lawyer. So if I have him here, okay. So Muhammad Sadullah used to be the agriculture and education minister. Now his vote bank was primarily the Muslim vote. Okay. So in order to improve his electoral prospects and with the support of the British government, he continued this policy of settling more and more East Bengalis or Bengalis at that time, but in terms of culture, because West Bengal is predominantly Hindu, East Bengal predominantly Muslim. So these are Bengali Muslims were being settled in the Brahmaputra Valley, increasing the vote bank of his own party. The British were also happy, as I told you, because of the economic growth and the increase in the revenue. For the first time, the Congress contested the elections in 1937 after the Government of India Act of 1935, in which it was a kind of a mixed verdict. Congress was the single largest party, but Sadullah was able to, with the help of European member, Anglo-Indian like that, he was able to, and these tribal leaders were Christians, with their help, he was able to form a government there. But it did not last for very, very long because Gopinath Bordoloi was the Congress leader. He was able to form the government in 1938. But the Congress government did not last long. As the Second World War broke out, Congress ministries resigned. So Gopinath Bordoloi also resigned and Sadullah was back. And Sadullah ruled Assam till 1946. So from 1939, briefly there was president's rule or whatever that was called under the British, Viceroy's rule for a brief period. But Sadullah was from 1939 to 1946 the Premier of Assam. And as part of supporting the British war effort, because they needed more food for the Second World War, this settlement continued. As a result, say around the time of partition, if you take the whole state of Assam, not today's state, but if you take the entire state, including Sylhet and this whole entire state, the Muslim population would amount to almost 33%. Okay. Now, the Muslim League demanded that Assam should be part of the new Pakistan. Okay, because Assam has a large Muslim population, and economically it is connected with East Bengal. And if Bengal becomes part of Pakistan, then if Assam also, otherwise Assam would be cut off from the rest of India. Okay, so it's better that Assam should be incorporated into this Bengal province of Pakistan. And the cabinet mission that came in 1946, they also made a kind of a similar kind of a thing, although some kind of a self-determination was included there, but there were three groupings. Okay, so one was the grouping of the Hindu majority states, one was the Muslim majority states in the west, there's Punjab and Northwest Frontier, Sindh, and there was a eastern grouping, C group, which included Bengal and Assam. So the Assamese people, they protested because they wanted to preserve their identity. They knew that if they became part of Bengal, their identity won't be preserved. So led by Gopinath Bordoloi, they fought against this. And eventually they were able to separate Assam from this any kind of scheme of Pakistan. Okay, except for the Sylhet district. Sylhet district, because it was the only Muslim majority district in Assam, there was a referendum held. Okay, so in this referendum, by a very small margin, about 55% voted in support of joining Pakistan. And there are many allegations of rigging, and it was monsoon period, and in monsoon, whole Assam is flooded. Okay, so anyway, whatever it was.
Also, the Sylhet referendum is one which Congress boycotted.
Yes, yes. So similar to, say, the Northwest Frontier province also. So I don't know what is the reason Congress was not participating in these referendums. Some allege that the Congress did not want the Muslim majority areas into the new India. So I'm not sure about that. But yeah, so, and I was reading that the symbols for remaining in India was a hut, and for joining Pakistan was an X. And so Muslim League was saying, no, this is a very negative connotation, and so on, so forth. That's a very interesting story. But anyhow, by 55%, people voted to join Pakistan. So Sylhet was included in, separated from Assam and included into East Pakistan, except for one district, one subdivision, which is now a district in Assam, that is Karimganj. Because you can see here in the map, this is Sylhet district here, this is Tripura. So if, say, entire Sylhet was excluded, then Tripura would have very thin link with the rest of India. Okay, they won't have any connection with the rest of India, except for the Lusai Hills, which is today Mizoram, which is a hilly area, and it's very difficult to travel from Tripura into Mizoram, almost impossible. So Redcliffe, while he was drawing his line, and there were some demands from some Congress leaders also, plus including some Muslim leaders of the Congress, that Karimganj should be included in Assam. So Karimganj was separated from Sylhet and included in Assam. So as a result, Tripura has a direct road connection with Assam because of this. Anyhow, so this was, so what I'm trying to say is, the immigration issue is not a new issue. This issue has been going on since 1874. At that time, the Assamese people were not very aware of these things. Gradually, in the beginning of the 20th century, the question of Assamese identity became prominent, and it was led by the Congress and the Congress leaders. And Gopinath Bordoloi was the big name in this. Okay, so it was the Congress which was leading this question of Assamese identity, which included Assamese language, also included the Hindu religion as a part of their identity. Okay, and a lot of efforts were made by Gopinath Bordoloi to preserve the Assamese identity. Okay, as a part of this, NRC was done in Assam. So in 1951, along with the census in Assam, there was a national register of citizens that was prepared, so that no foreigners would be allowed to remain. So this was the initiative of Gopinath Bordoloi, and he had a lot of clout within the Congress. So you're able to ensure that this NRC was done in 1951. Okay. Along with that, there was an Immigrants Act, Expulsion from Assam Act. So any person who was not a citizen of India, there was a provision that they could be expelled from Assam. Okay, so all these were done to protect the Assamese identity, okay, in the early 1950s. But unfortunately, Gopinath Bordoloi died. And the leadership, the new leadership of Assam was not as prominent within the Congress as Gopinath Bordoloi was. Okay. So gradually this question of identity got subsided. Anyway, Assam was partitioned, so the Muslim population of Assam got reduced substantially because of this whole huge district being removed from Assam. So this issue was almost like settled. The main issue now was the language issue. Okay, so Bengali versus Assamese language. So in 1960, this Assam was declared the only official language. So the Bengalis from the Barak Valley, they hesitated against it. And eventually a compromise was reached that in the Bengali speaking area, in that southern part of Assam known as the Barak Valley, Bengali would be the official language. Rest of Assam, Assamese would be the official language. Okay. But this immigration continued even after partition. People from Pakistan, that is East Pakistan, kept on migrating. Large number of Hindus migrated because of persecution. There were pogroms done by the Pakistani government and the Pakistani society against these Bengali Hindus who kept on coming. 1960s. In 71, there was this huge Bengal genocide, okay, where millions of Bengali Hindus were slaughtered in East Pakistan, including a systematic rape of Bengali Hindu women. So this was a big issue there. About 11 million refugees were there in India, including a large portion in Assam. Okay, so this was so an agreement was done. Indian Army intervened and Bangladesh was created, and through an agreement with the new government of Bangladesh, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, 25th March 1971 was kept as a cutoff. So all the people, this was the day when the genocide started. In the midnight of 24 and 25, the Operation Searchlight of the Pakistan Army that committed genocide on Bengalis. So on that date, this genocide started. So that was the cutoff. So all the people, so the Indian government agreed that Indira Gandhi agreed that all the people who came before this cutoff date would be accepted as citizens of India. Okay, they would be allowed to settle in Assam, while those who came after 25th March 1971 would be accepted back by Bangladesh. Okay, so this was an agreement done, but this thing continued. This immigration did not stop there. It kept on going on. And people in Assam, although there was some understanding of this, but people were not really agitating until 1979, when in a Mongoloi Lok Sabha election, when they examined the voter list, there are a large number of illegal immigrants were found in that particular voter list. And suddenly this became a huge issue in Assam. And this was the year when two big movements started. Two big movements. One was the anti-foreigner movement, Assam movement, led by Assam students. And the other was the ULFA, or as we call in Assam, Alpha, okay, ULFA movement demanding a sovereign Assam. Okay, this was basically, a big kind of a uh, going back to the Ahom days. These are mostly Ahom youth who are part of this Ulfa movement. Okay, they say that Ahom kingdom, the glorious kingdom, we are independent for so many years. We fought against Delhi, and now Delhi is exploiting us, and so on. We have tea, oil, and these are being exploited. So it took two forms. Okay, this agitation, the anger of the youth of Assam took two forms. One was Alpha, and other was this Assam movement. Eventually, there was an Assam Accord. An agreement was signed in 1985 by Rajiv Gandhi, in which it was decided. So you can see here, 1985, Assam Accord. Okay. So there are three important provisions in the Assam Accord, which are important for our discussion here. That number one, all those who entered Assam prior to 1st January 1966, that is those whose name are included in 1967 voter list, would automatically become the citizens of India. Okay. Then those people who came in between 1st of January 1966 and 24th of March 1971, they would be detected and they will be deleted from the voter list. Okay, so this period people will be detected and their name will be deleted, but it will be restored after 10 years. So 10 years time they should take to be absorbed within the Assamese society. Okay, so don't give them vote immediately, but put them in a what came to be known as D list in Assam. Okay, doubtful voters. But those who came after 25th March would be detected, deleted, and then expelled from Assam. Okay, so these things happened, but this issue was never resolved. Okay, it remained unresolved throughout the 90s. Both the Ulfa movement and the foreigners movement continued in Assam. People kept on agitating. There was this infamous IMDT Act made by Indira Gandhi in 1983, okay, which actually protected the illegal immigrants, because the onus of proving that the person was illegal immigrant was on the state and not on that particular person. So the person did not give any documentation to prove that that person is an Indian citizen, but it was the job of the government to prove somehow that that person was illegal. So that was very difficult. Ultimately, Sarbananda Sonowal, who eventually became the chief minister of Assam, so he fought this case, took it to the Supreme Court, and got this act nullified. Okay, it was declared unconstitutional in 2005. I hope you know about this Sarbananda Sonowal case. The first one. Then the second case came because the UPA government was in center. So they introduced a particular order, Foreigners Tribunal Amendment Order, which through the back door tried to insert the IMDT again. But again, Sarbananda Sonowal went to the Supreme Court and got it struck down. Okay. So, yeah, so, but what
We can't hear you now. Saurav bhai? I think there's some network issue. Shubham, can you hear?
I can't hear him.
Okay. So I think there's some connectivity issue. Essentially, he has delivered his lecture. So I believe I'll request him to send his PPT to the class. He'll share it with me. I'll mail it to you.
Sure, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm sorry we could not engage you for question answer round, but due to this connectivity issue, we'll have to end it here.
Sure, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
अरे हमें लगा शायद कनेक्टिविटी इशू है, हमने बच्चों से कह दिया, कोई बात नहीं, हो गया है.
अच्छा, वो पावर कट हो गया था.
हाँ.
Should I continue?
आपका तो ऑलमोस्ट हो ही गया था. खत्म कर दीजिए. 2 मिनट दे दीजिए, इन लोगों को बता दें, इन्फॉर्म कर.
हाँ, फिर से आ
आप
जाए ना,
लोग
वो एनआरसी तक अभी पहुंचा मैं.
पवन, आप लोग को एक मैसेज कर दीजिए, ग्रुप में आ गए हैं. चाहत आप कर दीजिए.
Sure, sir.
हाँ. सौरभ भाई पीपीटी जरा शेयर कर दीजिएगा ताकि इन लोगों के पास मटेरियल हो. कोई रीडिंग आप बताना चाहेंगे इस इशू पर?
मैं शेयर कर दूंगा.
अच्छा, श्योर.
So, briefly, I have 5 minutes more.
जी.
So, through Sarbananda Sonowal, what happened was this issue of illegal immigration now came into kind of a national focus, and Supreme Court started taking cognizance of this. Okay, and people got confidence. People of Assam got confidence that it is possible to get a redressal from the court. Okay, so there's Assam Public Works that filed a petition to update the NRC, which was part of the Assam Accord also. It was never taken up by any government, whether UPA, NDA, Congress government, any government did not take this up. So eventually the people turned to the Supreme Court. And some kind of a pilot project was started, but that led to violence. Okay, was a large number of immigrants, they thought that they needed to stop this particular thing. So this was not really pushed until Justice Ranjan Gogoi, he was elevated to the Supreme Court. So he became a judge in the Supreme Court in 2012. Earlier, he has a connection with all of you also. He was the Chancellor of RGNUL as the Chief Justice of Punjab and Haryana High Court. After that, he was elevated to the Supreme Court of India. He's connected to me also because he's from my hometown, Dibrugarh. He studied in the same school, Don Bosco School. Of course, he's also connected with Siddharth sir because he's from Faculty of Law, Delhi University. Anyhow.
Yes, definitely. I accept the connection.
So, because he was from Assam, he came from a political family, he was an Ahom. His father was a chief minister of Assam briefly during that agitation days. He was a famous lawyer in Dibrugarh. So he took this issue seriously, and in 2013, the Supreme Court directed the government to start the NRC process. Okay, and it took a lot of time, many years. So once Narendra Modi government came to power, this process began. Okay, the administrative support was received by the Supreme Court, and this process began. And in 2017, a kind of a draft was released, which was an incomplete draft. And then finally, an updated draft was released in 30th of July 2018. This was the first list that came up, in which 2.9 crore people were included and 40 lakh people were excluded, okay, from the list. So this was the complete list. So out of, I have the exact figures in front of me, but I don't want to go into that number. So approximately you can say 40 lakh applicants were excluded from the NRC, including my own. I was also excluded in this particular list. So then there was the verification process. So those people who were excluded, they had to go to the offices, they had to be personally present. So people say if someone is America or someone is staying outside, so they had to come back to Assam and stand in front of the officer and present all the documents. Also, this process was done. So eventually, on 31st of August 2019, the final draft, the final list was published with 3.11 crore names included and 19 lakh people excluded from this list. Okay. So according to this NRC, which was disputed both from the left as well as from the Assam government, Himanta Biswa Sharma was the chief, had not yet become the chief minister, but once he became chief minister, he started saying that we need another NRC because this NRC was flawed, because it does not address the complete issues. After that, large number of detention centers were established all over India. The criticism from the left that people are being detained and people should not be detained and so on and so forth. Now, in this 19 lakh people, a large number of Hindus, in fact, 50% of the names are Hindus, okay, who mostly are Bengali Hindus, because these people escaped persecution from Bangladesh, okay, they were not undocumented. And so the NDA government introduced the CAA, Citizenship Amendments Act. On 10th of December, it was passed by both houses of the parliament. So which granted citizenship to Hindus, Sikhs, Buddhists, Jain, Parsis, and Christians who came from these three countries before 31st of December 2014. Okay, so this included the large number of Bengali Hindus who had settled in Assam also. But this act has not yet been implemented, okay, that the whole process is still pending, it has not been enforced. Again, there was an hesitation because certain people are saying it's not just about Hindu-Muslim, it's also about the Assamese Bengali issue. But eventually it subsided and so this is where the issue stands right now. So there's a list that the government has. Certain people have been detained. They have been identified as foreigners. They're still in Assam, large numbers of them, because it's not possible for the police to go and arrest 19 lakh people and put them in detention camps. Okay. Plus, there's the question of the Bengali Hindus who are part of the CAA. So what is going to happen to them? And what about the rest of the people who were not included? The demography has already changed. Okay, so all these issues are still very important issues in Assam. This is a source of polarization. On the one hand, you have the BJP led by Himanta Biswa Sharma, who is very clear about the Assamese identity, that this is our identity, it is Assamese Hindu identity, although some Muslim indigenous groups have also been recognized. Okay, they have also been protected. They have been declared as original inhabitants. Okay. Goria, this type of groups, Assamese Muslim groups are there. They have also been recognized. But what he's saying is the people who came later, that is in the 20th century, okay, the people who basically Memin Singhiyas and the Silatiyas and people who came from East Bengal, they should not be considered to be part of Assam. The rest of the Assamese people should get a protected identity. Okay, so that is except the Bengali Hindus who have come because of persecution in. So this is, you can see the population breakup. The green area is Muslim dominated area. You can see both in the Barak Valley as well as in lower Assam. Okay, Muslim population is increasing. And this is a map of some of the protected areas. Okay, so this is the BTC, Bodo Territorial Council. This is the Karbi area and this is the Dimasa area. So these are some of the areas which have been declared tribal, autonomous council under the 6th schedule of the Indian
scheduled
Constitution.
areas. Ji.
Yes, yes. So they are protected. So people cannot go and buy land there, and the tribes, they have control over the administration locally. Plus, there are other also which are not under the 6th schedule, but under the state legislation. Okay, so the Rabhas, Deoris, Missings, Tiwas, Sonwal Kacharis, Tengal Kacharis, also the Bodos living outside the BTC, they also have been given protected status. So in this way, the Assam government is trying to protect the identity of the indigenous people by recognizing their right over land, if not the whole state. They want it for the whole state. But unfortunately, that is not possible because of this huge number of illegal immigrants. So they are trying to carve out areas within Assam which are protected. Okay. Plus, detecting and deporting those who have been identified as illegal immigrants. So these are some of the processes adopted by the government to stop it. On the other side, there is the AIUDF led by Badruddin Ajmal, which is fighting for the rights of the immigrant population. Okay, those were, so before 1950s, the immigrants, in fact, I think it is even later when people from Pakistan who came actually legally. There was no legal restriction on them coming and settling in India. So those who came would be considered legal migrants. Those who came after that would be illegal migrants. So he's protecting the rights, he's saying, of the legal migrants who came before, say 71, let's say 71 is the cutoff. So who came before 71, they're legal citizens. So they are being harassed by this NRC and the BJP government. So AIDUF has emerged as a voice for the immigrant Muslim population. And the BJP is basically now standing for the Assamese culture, so on and so forth, Assamese identity. The Congress, which used to be somewhere in the middle, getting support from both sides, and initially it was the party which supported this Assam, protecting the identity of Assam, gradually has lost out its votes to both sides. So it's mostly a polarized polity in Assam between the AIDUF on one hand and the BJP on the other. Thank you. I'll stop here. And I'd like some intervention from you. Any questions, doubts, criticisms?
Hello,
Questions
sir.
or feedback? Yes. Please go ahead.
So my name is Shubham. I am a KLLM candidate at RGNUL right now. And I have a question in regards to the NRC that you were talking about. You yourself have mentioned many flaws in the NRC process. So do you think NRC process would be able to resolve the issue of illegal migration in the state of Assam? Considering the government has yet again said that the process that has taken place has not been able to determine the illegal migration properly, and there has been flaws, and they want a revision of the process again. The process already costed 1,200 crores of rupees to complete, and then again they wanted a processed revision of the process.
Right. That's a very important question, to which I personally, I don't think the NRC can really resolve this issue of identity. Because you see, this is a huge number of people. If it was a few thousand, then you can deport them to, say, Bangladesh. Already it's 19 lakh. Is it possible to deport 19 lakh people? Even if you say exclude the Hindus, they come under CAA. So you make them citizens of India. So about 9 lakh people or 10 lakh people. Is it possible to deport them to Bangladesh. Will Bangladesh accept them?
Yes, sir. There is
Okay.
no deportation policy of India as well.
Yeah, so I don't think this is going to work. And even if you do another NRC and maybe the number will increase, then will be even more people.
Yes, sir.
So I think the only solution that I see is making laws which will protect the land rights of the people.
Yes, sir. So it is also vital to note that uh, the process of NRC has started, but there is no clarity in regards to the definition of Assamese. And the date that has been used to determine who will be an Assamese or an original inhabitant of Assam. So there is also a debate going on that whether 1951 should be taken as a cutoff for 1971. And if you remember, prior to the signing of the Assam Accord, also there were differences between ASU and AJYCP over the cutoff date. So also in regards to the determination of citizenship in the context of Assam, there are two processes. One is NRC that is going on, and the other is the through foreigners tribunals. So there is no concrete uniform process to determine the citizenship of a person in the state of Assam.
Yes, that's right. Who is an Assamese is another contentious issue. So is it 1826? Is it 1874? Is it 1951? 1971 is very difficult. Now, how will
2-3
it
years
find
back,
someone?
there was a government committee also, a former judge of High Court, I believe some Justice
Sir.
Sharma, who submitted a report
Biplab
that,
Kumar Sharma.
yeah, that it should be 1850s.
No,
And
the
the government
committee
never
recommended
accepted.
1951 as the cutoff date instead of
Okay,
1971.
okay, and Shubham, 6A, Section 6A of Citizenship Act of
Yes, sir.
1955 has this 1971 cutoff, and the wires of 6A are still under challenge in the case of Assam Sammilit Mahasangh. So
Yes, sir.
that is a pending matter before Supreme Court.
And while the matter is pending, the people cannot go and ask for the implementation of 6A because the court has to first determine whether it's constitutional or not.
No, I think it is as till the court pronounces it as unconstitutional, it remains the law of land.
Yes, sir.
There's a presumption of constitutionality of every statute.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Sorry, Saurabh bhai, for dragging in some law and sections.
Yes, we need that. We need that. We need
Yeah.
other. Anyone else who wants to comment? Is Shubham from Assam?
Yes, sir.
From where?
So Nagaon,
Nagaon. Okay.
one of the most infiltrated districts in the state.
Yes. Anyone else who
Having
wants
this
to
discussion
comment?
with Shubham. Yes, others. Anyone who wants to join? Chali, I think
Yeah.
it's done.
Okay. Very nice talking
So
to you.